Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be here today on the campus of Case Western Reserve University and in the Wolstein Research Building of our School of Medicine. This is a moment that is literally years in the making, and it would be impossible to overstate the importance of it. It is my great privilege to announce that the National Cancer Institute has awarded $11.3 million to our university to advance the treatment of gastrointestinal cancers. This funding comes to Case Western Reserve through an initiative of the NCI known as Spore, Specialized Programs of Research Excellence. And today's award represents the only Spore given in gastrointestinal cancer in the United States this year. In addition, our program joins an elite group of only 6 GI spores in the entire country. The others are at places like Harvard and Johns Hopkins. In other words, this is a little bit like a baseball player making it to the major leagues. We are proud. Achievements like these involve many, many individuals of remarkable intellect and ingenuity and dedication, people who literally commit their lives to understanding the complex mechanisms of disease so that they can play a role in stopping it. You are going to hear more about them later in the program, but for now, I would like to ask the faculty members who worked so hard on this grant to stand up, or if you're already standing, please raise your hand so we can thank you. What a remarkable team. So to you specifically, thank you for the effort that has gone into securing this federal investment. It is really an investment in your work that brought this grant to Case Western Reserve. And thank you also for the astounding impact that this research is going to have on the lives of literally thousands of individuals. Your work touches patients and also everyone who's affected by this disease when it strikes someone they know. We're going to thank some additional people today, but I want you to remember the faces of the people who just stood up and waved. They are, in our own way, the Cleveland All-Star team, the Case Western Reserve University All-Star team. These individuals, I know, would want me to tell you that the progress and achievements that led the NCI to make this award have emerged from the talents and the efforts of many people, physicians and scientists, technicians and researchers, patients and public champions, students who contributed, all in their own ways to advance this work. Some of you may remember that Katie Couric joined us for our commencement speech in the spring of 2010. Her advocacy of colon cancer screenings influenced many millions of Americans. In fact, so many that researchers documented the effect of her impact and called it the Katie Couric effect in their journal article. When she was on the NBC Today show, she cited a research program here, and after she did that, our switchboards literally crashed with the number of calls coming in to find out about the program. Advocates like Katie Couric are invaluable to raising awareness among the public and policymakers, and we cannot thank her and others like her enough for their contributions to this fight. But as she told us herself during her visit here, the real heroes are the people who work in this very building, the people who spend hours upon painstaking hours analyzing, theorizing, and ultimately extending our knowledge of this disease and the ways we can begin to prevent and ultimately cure it. After the formal remarks today, members of our staff will provide tours of some of those very labs. I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity to see for yourself the work and the people. Truly, they are nothing short of remarkable. Now, I'm going to turn the podium over to Dean Davis in a moment, but first I want to thank some of the Northeast Ohio elected representatives who understand the critical value of academic research to our immediate community and to the nation at large. We are so grateful for the ongoing engagement from the following people, many of whom have sent staff to today's event: Congressman Dennis Kucinich, Congressman Steve LaTourette, Congresswoman Betty Sutton, Senator Rob Portman, Senator Sherrod Brown. And I'd be remiss if I did not also mention the Honorable Louis Stokes, our longtime legislative lion in Congress, and now, I'm proud to say, a member of the faculty of Case Western Reserve University. So thank you for being with us, Congressman Stokes, and for all your support over many, many years. I am delighted to tell you, yes, he deserves that. I am delighted to tell you that we have one of our Ohio representatives here in person, Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur. Would you please come forward and say a few words for us, Congresswoman? Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. It's afternoon, I guess. We only got up at 4 a.m. in Washington. I want to say congratulations to Case. This is just another example of where you are doing world-class work for people who so desperately need the knowledge and the treatment that will flow from the research here. I want to say to my beloved colleague, Congressman Lou Stokes, whom we miss every day, I knew you would never really leave. You just got a new tire. When you retire, you get a new tire, and you are putting your fine talents to work here. I know we are in the district of Congresswoman Marcia Fudge, and she really helped all of us on the delegation, Betty Sutton and others, all right, to help all of you here at Case to move these ideas forward. You know, I was watching the faces, Madam President, of the faculty, of the researchers. I know Dr. Markowitz, all of those who are so involved directly. And it's amazing what I thought of as I watched all of you. I was traveling in the former Soviet bloc country, and I had a meeting with the people there just like this. And one citizen said to me, why do you love your country? No one had ever asked me that question before. And I said, why do I love my country? And I suppose, you know, why are we so positive? Because we actually accomplish something together. And that we actually have faith that if we work together in the private sector, in the public sector, and we develop the bonds of trust and of understanding, that by working together, that teamwork can really help our country and the world. As I watched your faces today, I saw that love. And I can only extend to you the heartiest congratulations of the entire delegation. I'm Dean of the Ohio delegation. But also to say that our mother used to say to us, the real heroes are those who are unrecognized in the research labs across this country. And that's all of you and all of your supporters, those who helped fund this effort, those who have taken the time to be here today. And I can tell you that as I stand here today, I've served in Congress many years, and we've lost many of our colleagues due to gastrointestinal cancers. We've one in particular I keep in mind here today who is undergoing treatment as we speak. Your work is so terribly important, and just know you have our support. I, as a member of the delegation, will do everything I can to help you advance your work. And there are still some in Congress who understand why it's important for a nation to work together for the common good. Thank you so very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Congresswoman Kaptur, and we hope you will convey our great gratitude to the entire delegation. But I have to mention specifically our Congresswoman, Congresswoman Marcia Fudge. She represents the 11th District, in which Case Western Reserve University sits. And although I am so sorry she could not be here today, I did have the chance to talk with her on the phone this morning. And I want all of you to know that she has been an extraordinary advocate for our region, win for our city, for this congressional district, and for Case Western Reserve University. From the very start, Congresswoman Fudge recognized the critical importance of the work of higher education to this community. Not only the power of education to advance individuals, but also the impact of research, like the research that led to the grant that we are celebrating today. So it is one thing to appreciate higher education and another to affect positive change. And Congresswoman Fudge is really the whole package. So she's been engaged with the Congressional Black Caucus and colleagues, and the entire Ohio delegation, along with her, provided tremendous support. So we are so fortunate that we have a champion in Congresswoman Fudge, and we will convey to her our gratitude separately, but I wanted all of you to know how important she has been in this effort. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Pamela B. Davis, MD, PhD, Dean of the top 25 ranked medical school at Case Western Reserve University, and Vice President for Medical Affairs.
It's a great understatement to say that I'm pleased to be here today. In the war on cancer, we have to celebrate every victory. The awarding of this grant is a win of enormous proportions, not just because of the prestige or acclaim, but because of what this investment will allow us to do to save lives. It's just that simple. Science is fascinating stuff, and indeed, when I was a student and headed for medical school, I expected to spend my own life entirely in the laboratory. But then I set foot on a hospital ward and saw the patients and their families. And for me, it was like eating of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You can't go back. I went on to a career that integrated research with clinical care and combined scientific inquiry with seeing patients improve because of the breakthroughs that we could bring from the laboratory to life. This commitment to translational medicine, to making discoveries and bringing them to patients, is part of the DNA of our medical school. We believe passionately in every step of the journey from bench to bedside, what we like to call lab to life. More to the point, we have demonstrated a distinct talent for delivering on the meaning behind that line. The examples are many, but today we're citing the work of the individual I'm about to introduce, Dr. Sandy Markowitz. President Snyder has already noted the connection between Katie Couric and Dr. Markowitz. What she didn't have an opportunity to explain is that Sandy came to Katie's attention because of his standing as one of the world's leading researchers in the area of colon cancer. In his illustrious career, Sandy and his research team have sequenced the colon cancer genome, detected the chromosomes that cause the disease to strike particular families, identified genetic mutations that cause colon cancer and prevent other GI cancers, and identified genetic pathways that might be exploited to prevent the disease. As part of these efforts, Dr. Markowitz also developed a non-invasive colon cancer screening test. As you know, the most common form of screening, colonoscopy, is seen by many as, well, less than appealing. When caught in its early stages, however, this cancer is 90% curable. In no small measure because of people's fear of the traditional test, only a third of such cancers are caught at that stage. Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in our nation. Something had to be done, and Sandy did it. He created a highly accurate test that involved no pain or invasive procedure. His approach has been endorsed by the American Cancer Society and is marketed under the motto, "The best test is the one that gets used." Now, this is some of what Sandy has been able to accomplish already. Can you even begin to imagine what's ahead with this new support? But here's the thing. Sandy will be the first to explain that the progress he has made relates directly to the collaborative efforts of many individuals, the people within his own lab, people across the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center, the hospitals that are members of that center, University Hospitals, Case Medical Center, and the Cleveland Clinic, and select research colleagues around the country. In fact, This very grant involves his longtime collaborator, Dr. Jim Wilson, and the Simmons Cancer Center at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. On behalf of Sandy and his entire team, I want to thank a few in particular. First, the members of the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center, under the leadership of the inestimable Stanton L. Gerson, the director of the center since 2004 and a member of our research community since 1983. Dr. Gerson is a scientific trailblazer in his own right, but he is just as much a compassionate clinician and a leader devoted to advancing the treatment and cure of all cancers. He leads a center that is one of only 40 of its kind in the country and the only one in Northeast Ohio. The stature of the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center attracts remarkable researchers and physicians who in turn do extraordinary work like what we're discussing today. Stan, on behalf of all of us in the Case Western Reserve community, the Cancer Center's affiliated members, and the 3.9 million people in the area the center serves, thank you. Secondly, I must acknowledge our university's primary hospital affiliate and a key participant in this grant, University Hospital's Case Medical Center. Its president, Fred Rothstein, is out of the country and unable to be with us today. Even so, I want to thank him for his leadership. I would also like to acknowledge the CEO of University Hospitals, Tom Zenti. Just north of this building is the Seidman Cancer Center, where some of those involved in the research of the Spore will receive treatment and conduct trials. I want to congratulate Tom on the opening of this impressive structure and to thank him for his willingness to collaborate with Dr. Markowitz and his team on the clinical elements of this grant. And finally, we're grateful to the Cleveland Clinic, our clinical affiliate, whose role in this grant is evolving but will be critical for several aspects of this research. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Sandy Markowitz, the principal investigator for this Spore grant.
It's not going to be easy to live up to. Thank you, President Snyder and Dean Davis. You've both acknowledged many people, and I will not impose on our audience by naming them again. But that said, I must make a point of saying how much I also share your gratitude to all of the individuals who have helped us secure this award. This award is going to make such a difference in helping those who suffer from these diseases. There are several thank yous that I personally need to express. First, to President Snyder. Your commitment to academic excellence permeates everything at our campus, and it's your example that inspires all of the faculty who are part of our Spore team. To Dean Davis, as always, thank you for your leadership of our School of Medicine, for your support of cancer research, and for your support of our team. To Tom Zenti, Fred Rothstein, and the leadership at University Hospitals, we are grateful for all that you have done to advance the clinical care for cancer patients, and for all of your support for the work of this GI Cancer's Spore research program. This year alone, 140,000 people will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and 50,000 are going to die from this disease. Esophageal cancer claims fewer lives, but it unfortunately is one of the 2 fastest growing causes of cancer death in America. The 15 researchers who are part of this Spore are acutely aware of these statistics, and they are deeply motivated to change them. Look around us. Look at the people in this room. Each of us has family, friends, loved ones. So too do our 15 Spore researchers. Every one of us recognizes the individuals behind the numbers. the fear and the uncertainty that accompanies even a single cancer diagnosis and that touches an entire community. That awareness is what drives us, all of us, to do this work. It's what makes us so very grateful and eager to carry out the work that this Spore grant is going to enable. But when it comes to defeating GI cancers, drive and will alone are not going to be enough. It demands deep knowledge of the minute workings of cells and of molecules. It requires rich experience in the elements of effective basic and clinical research. And perhaps most of all, it requires the ability to integrate many diverse ideas and approaches into a program that will be even more intelligent and innovative than the diseases are cunning and cruel. That's a tall order for any individual physician-scientist, but it's my great honor, and indeed privilege, to work with a Spore faculty team at Case Western Reserve who each embody the qualities of brilliance, creativity, and practical know-how. Every single one of the people President Snyder just asked to stand is world-class. That's not hyperbole. That's from the people who know this field best, the evaluators at the National Cancer Institute, who ranked us the #1 GI Spore proposal in the country. One noted that our faculty were, quote, in many cases internationally recognized. A second wrote, the DNA screening test we've developed will have important clinical significance. And one of my favorite lines from the evaluation, the overall capability of this Spore is considered exceptional. In some ways, these reviews are prospective. They are seeking to assess what we could do if we received the investment that was represented by this grant award. But a key part of this evaluation was considering who we are and what we've already done. On that scale, I would put this team up against anyone. To all of our team, for everything you've committed to this work, for all that we will accomplish together in the years to come, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So, what precisely will we do? We will use the most cutting-edge molecular, DNA, and gene-based approaches developed in our laboratories at Case Western Reserve to roll back these diseases. Let me say that again. We are going to use the most cutting-edge molecular, DNA, and gene-based approaches developed in our laboratories here at Case Western Reserve to roll back these diseases. How? Well, we're going to discover ways to block the metastatic spread of GI cancers. We're going to develop new and powerful methods to help treat these cancers. We're going to develop new molecular tests to identify individuals who are susceptible to GI cancers so they can take additional steps to protect themselves. We're going to develop tests for the early detection of GI cancers when they're still in their initial curable stages. And we're going to develop new drugs for the outright prevention of these diseases. This agenda is large, but so too is the need. And the nature of this research is such that it will allow us to begin to address that need right here in Cleveland. Already, we have a specific clinical trial plan that involves a DNA-based test for early colon cancer detection. Where will it take place? Here, in Northeast Ohio. You, our neighbors, friends, and fellow members of our community, you're the first beneficiaries of this groundbreaking work. More importantly, you are our partners in finding cures. One special aspect of this grant deserves particular note. Colorectal cancer rates in African Americans are 20% higher than in Caucasians, and mortality rates are 40% higher. In this Spore, we've developed a dedicated component that targets this disparity and that seeks ways to reverse these unacceptable excess deaths in the African American community. I want to thank Congressman Louis Stokes, one of my heroes, for his insight and his assistance in this Spore, and express our enthusiasm for partnering with Greater Cleveland's African American community to better understand the roots of this increased cancer lethality and then to do something about it. I want to thank the other leaders from across our entire Ohio community who are going to partner with Congressman Stokes on the Spore Patient Advocates Advisory Board to help guide and advance our efforts to ensure that every individual who is faced with a GI cancer can face a better future. One other key benefit of this award is worth mentioning. Grants like this one, combined with the people already on our team, create their own momentum. This award will draw yet more extraordinary people to our community to help us in our efforts against this disease. To patients, their families, and our community, this is going to be a win, win, win. Our team cannot wait to begin this work. And on that note, thank you all for coming.